This is the History of Algeria podcast. Each week on Mondays, we'll be updating new information about the history of Algeria. This is an Eat to My Own Beat podcast. Welcome back to episode 22 of the History of Algeria podcast, Fungoid Rock Art. In 1989, psychedelics researcher Giorgio Samarini proposed the theory of the fungoid-like paintings in the caves of Tassili are proof of the relationship between humans and psychedelics in the ancient populations of the Sahara, when it was still a verdant land. One of the most important scenes to be found in the Tin Tassili rock art site at Tassili, in which we find a series of masked figures in line and heroically dressed or dressed as dancers surrounded by a long, lively festoons of geometrical designs of different kinds. Each dancer holds a mushroom-like object in the right hand. Even more surprising, two parallel lines come out of this object to reach the central part of the head of the dancer, the area of the roots of the two horns. This double line could signify an indirect association or non-material fluid passing from the object held in the right hand and the mind. The interpretation would coincide with the mushroom interpretation if we bear in mind the universal mental value induced by hallucinogenic mushrooms and vegetables, which is often of a mystical and spiritual nature. Dobkin de Rios. It would seem that these lines in themselves are ideogram that represents something non-material in the ancient art, represent the effect of the mushroom has on the human mind. In a shelter in Tin Abu Teka in Tassili, there is a motif appearing at least twice in the associations of mushrooms and fish, a unique association of symbols among mycological cultures. Two mushrooms are depicted opposite each other in perpendicular position about the fish motif and near the tail. Not far from here, above, we find other fish which are similar to the aforementioned, but within the side mushrooms. Giorgio Samarini, 1989. The theory was reused by Terence McKenna in 1992 book Food of the Gods, hypothesizing that the Neolithic culture that inhabited the site was psilocybin mushrooms as part of their religious ritual life, citing rock paintings allowing persons holding mushroom-like objects in their hands, as well as the mushrooms growing from their bodies. From Henry Liot, who discovered the Tassili caves in the late 1950s, they were obviously secret sanctuaries. The painting that best supports the mushroom hypothesis in the Tassili mushroom figure, Malala Amazar, where the body of the represented shaman is covered with mushrooms, according to Earl Lee in his book From the Bodies of the Gods, Psychoactive Plants and Cults of the Dead, came out in 2012. This imagery refers to the ancient episode which a mushroom shaman was buried while fully clothed, and while unearthed and sometimes later, tiny mushrooms would be growing on the clothes. Earl Lee considered the mushroom paintings of Tassili fairly realistic. According to Brian Akers, writer for the Mushroom Journal, the fungoid art at Tassili does not resemble the representations of the Hispanica in the Selve Pascula caves, and does not consider it realistic. Thank you for listening to the History of Algeria podcast. Please check back every Monday at noon Pacific time for a new episode. Also available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Check us out at www.eatmyownbeat.com.